This is Andy Purwell for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm joined by Carl Froch in the immediate aftermath of Anthony Joshua's defeat to Oleksandr Usyk. Carl, what did you make of the fight first and foremost?
Great fight, enjoyed it. I thought AJ could have started a lot stronger, got going earlier. He's bigger, he's got more reach. What is he, 19 pounds heavier? He's got reach and height advantage, but Usyk's a quality operator. Usyk's not going to just let AJ push him around the ring without responding and having a go himself. He'd get his head in there and he ties his guys up. He's clever up close, Usyk. So, although I wanted to see AJ do more, would that have been possible? But we won't know because he didn't do it. And you've got to do it early. You have to do that early, like I did against Lucian Bute. I jumped on him. If I'd have let Bute get into a rhythm and box from that southpaw stance and pick me off at range, could I have done what I did in the first 5 rounds? In the last 5 rounds, probably not. So, if the rematch happens, I think he's got to jump on Usyk early and just go for broke.
Because of how Usyk started and he was brilliant in those opening rounds especially, how difficult do you think it was for Anthony mentally to start to try to put himself into a position to be more aggressive?
Yeah, it's harder when you're in a fight to get going. I did it against Andre Ward. I let Ward into the fight from the start and I sort of lacked belief, and I was pouring with a jab of it, and when it was up close I wasn't being rough, and I had a lot of respect for him. I kind of knew how good he was, and I feel that the mindset of AJ tonight could have been very similar to the mindset of me against Andre Ward. And yeah, that's very difficult to change the pattern of the fight then.
Carl, that last round and the last 10 seconds in particular, it looked like AJ was on the verge of potentially being stopped.
He was 2 shots away from being stopped. He'd been hit with 3, 4, 5 shots. Flush blows, he fell back onto the ropes. He wasn't looking at his opponent, wasn't looking at Usyk. And Usyk threw a big overhand left and missed. He doesn't often miss. He threw a right hook and missed. He threw 2 or 3 shots that, had they would have landed, that would have been fight over there, 100%. But luckily they didn't land. AJ kept himself out of harm's way and he heard the final bell. He deserved to hear the final bell. But the better man on the night won there.
Before the fight, there's question marks over how Oleksandr would do against the top heavyweight. Were you surprised by just how good he was tonight?
Yes, because I thought he could do that kind of performance, but just probably not against somebody like AJ. So yeah, I am surprised, but not totally blown away because I've watched a lot of him, and I watched him in the WSB, which is the World Series of Boxing. If people aren't familiar with that, it's like a bridge between amateur and pro. They do 5 3-minute rounds. And I watched Usyk just 2 nights ago when I was doing my studying, and he beat the juggernaut, Joe Joyce, like I've never seen anybody beat him before. He just copes with the height, the weight, the strength. The juggernaut walks through people, and Usyk just kind of peppered him and manoeuvred him and outclassed him, really. I don't say outclassed him, but he had it all his own way. And I thought, wow, and that's when I knew he could do it. So that's why I'm not massively surprised.
The second defeat of AJ's career, do you think this one will hurt more than the Ruiz one?
Yeah, probably. I think there was problems going into the Ruiz one behind the scenes, so he had reasons for that, and he could justify it to himself. Got the rematch, got the job done. This defeat here, especially with that finish from Usyk, that's going to be a bad loss to swallow, and one that's going to be tough to come back from.
Final one, Carl. I don't know if there's kind of a time frame which the rematch has to be taken up by, but you in AJ position, or from what you know, do you think he will look to do it immediately like he did with Ruiz too?
Well, he said to Eddie Hearn on the way back to the changing rooms, I want the rematch. That's the next fight. The next fight I want is Usyk. So there's your answer, but he might feel different when he wakes up tomorrow morning.
Right, Carl, I appreciate your time. Safe travels back up north.
Pleasure.